Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning back into the Odd Pod, the oddest little podcast on the internet. I am Stacy Kruger. Who are you sexy people in Discord with me right now?
I would answer, but I'm not sexy, so casually challenged.
I will disagree. I've seen it. The beard, Ermagerd.
Red Hazard, too sexy for my shirt.
Ow!
I most definitely am sexy. I'm Robbie.
I love he's the only one coming out like, I knock socks off. What can I say? I can't help it. I am already rubbing baby oil over myself, getting ready to go out for a jog to impress the boys and girls.
That's how I prepare for the podcast.
That's how I prepare for every podcast. I bathe in baby oil every single time. Yeah. Just let it seep in, you know? Why the hell not? But yes, guys, thank you very much for swinging back in and doing the podcast with us. Again, unfortunately, Undead was unable to make it again. From the way it's looking, it'll be a couple times before he's able to make it here. That's what happens when you move, though. You move, computers get torn down, unable to get set back up because they're kind of in the process of moving still. We've all been through it, right, guys?
Damn Canadians.
Yeah, I know, those damn Canadians. I'm telling you, you could tell Undead is Canadian. You know how? I wish I could tell you I'm joking. I wish I could tell you a joke. I legit got a 3.5 paragraph of nothing but I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to do this. I'm so sorry. I can't be here. I'm sorry. It was all sorry. I'm like, God damn, you're so Canuck. It hurts, man.
And it came with maple syrup.
It did come with me. How did you know?
It's like a word search for any word that's not sorry.
Exactly. And the worst part was he had something listed on there saying this is what we use for lube. I don't understand it. It was weird. It was just awkward, creepy. I tried. It tasted delicious, but it was kind of shitty tasting at the same time. I'm waiting. Nothing? Nothing? Really?
I like half heard what you said there.
Oh, God.
Your jokes are not working today.
They aren't, man. Jesus. But yeah, how the hell have you guys been this last week? What have you been up to? Anything fun and exciting happening for you?
Well, I would have said yes, but then I watched the latest Netflix show, Iron Fist, and...
Yeah, you haven't sounded too happy about this. What do you hate about Iron Fist? I haven't got a chance to see it yet, so...
Okay, I don't hate Iron Fist. Most of the Marvel movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which includes all the Avengers stuff, does not include the X-Men or Fantastic Four, and recently added Spider-Man, has been, at the very least, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not good. And I would consider most of it to be good. Like... There's a couple exceptions. Some people would say Iron Man 3. I disagree. Some people would say Captain America, the first one. I disagree there too. Most people will agree, though, that Thor: The Dark World is probably the least on the list of the MCU. It has its moments that still make it fun, especially the interactions between Loki and Thor.
I didn't know there was another Thor. I thought that the first one was the only one.
Oh, no, the third one's coming out this year.
Yeah, the third one is going to be a buddy road trip with Thor and Hulk.
Dear God, have I been living on a rock that long?
Yes.
Jesus.
But I still consider everything they've done so far to, if not be good, and I consider it mostly to be good, to be fun.
Yeah.
Iron Fist was neither. The acting was meh. The storyline was meh. The editing even was not good. It was slow.
Okay.
Like you can call something slow. Like, a lot of people will call the first season of Daredevil slow, and they said they could have put that into about 9 or 10 episodes instead of 13. I agree, but this one could have been condensed down to about 6 episodes for what content is there.
Casual, I'll agree with you that it's much. The Iron Fist is just not like, even on par with the other Netflix shows. Like, the Netflix shows are not like the Avengers movies and all that, where it's like big blockbusters, like super superheroes with powers. They're all over the
Right.
place. They're much more toned down because of the characters like Daredevil and Luke Cage and all that. But even compared to those, this just does not feel on par with those at all.
Yeah, it feels like now part of it may have to do with a budgetary thing because it felt as I was watching it like they used up their budget on the other shows and they're saving the rest of their budget for the Defenders, which is the big team up that will have all of them together.
Yeah.
But even then, even without the budget, you can still do something that is good. And what Iron Fist brings to the table is a character. Well, no, let me rephrase. Is a show that, aside from bringing in the Night Nurse again, could be completely removed from the Netflix series leading up to the Defenders, and it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
There's no, like, the connections made in Luke Cage are connections directly to the rest of the Marvel Universe and the lead up to the Defenders. The connections in Jessica Jones are there. The connections in Daredevil are there. But
Yeah.
this show has no... It's all about Iron Fist, which would be fine if it was good. And
They
it's
occasionally,
not.
they occasionally refer to Daredevil and Luke Cage, but that's literally about it.
Yeah, but again, it's like they're there. They exist.
Yeah.
And the problem that I have after watching this show is that with Jessica Jones, I was actually invested in the whole show. I really like that show. Some people may not, but it had something that kept me interested the whole time. Mostly it was the Kilgrave. The villain was amazing in that one.
David Tennant was great in that.
Yes. Daredevil Season 1 kept me interested because it was like watching Frank Miller's Year 1 of Daredevil thing put into live action.
And Vincent D'Onofrio.
That too. Oh my word. The scene with the car, that's all I'll say about that.
There's a car? What?
Daredevil Season 2 had me interested because of The Punisher, if nothing
Oh, yeah.
else, and the rest of it was just really fun to watch.
Yeah, Punisher and Elektra. I
I
liked Elektra.
I didn't really
Way more
like
than-
Elektra.
I liked it way more than the bloody movie.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that was a terrible movie. Luke Cage was a bit of a different animal, I will agree, but you had to actually watch the whole show to get it. And at the end, you start making all the connections of the through line through the whole show, and you go, oh, at least that was my impression. Because
Please tell me you actually at the end of the show went, oh. Neighbors are banging the wall. Would you stop going ooh and ah?
I actually did, because it was along the way. I heard a lot of complaints from people that said, "Oh, I gave up around episode 6, or I gave up around episode 3, or I gave up." And I get that because Luke Cage had kind of a different pacing and editing style, and so there were certain plot lines that may not have been interesting in the episodes that you were watching. But if you watch the whole thing, there was a through line, and it made it to the end, and it all tied together. Iron Fist doesn't even have that.
Well,
I was waiting for a connection at the end, and it doesn't come together. It doesn't matter, there's nothing there.
Well, for someone like me who's never seen Iron Fist, all I've heard about is what I've heard from the media, which is the whitewashing scenario, apparently. Apparently, according to the media,
There's no whitewashing.
I'm just telling you what I've heard from the media is that supposedly they took all the Asians out and they made it all white because they wanted it to be white because fucking bullshit like that. This is what I'm hearing from the media. Please, guys, help.
Okay. Go ahead.
I mean, the only, from what I can remember, I didn't really pay much attention to what the media said because it's a bit bullshit. But yeah, there's plenty of Asians in there, and there's like Asian kung fu masters. There's the main villain, or it's like most of the episodes is Asian.
And not just like Chinese, Japanese, Asian. There's also like one of the guys is Middle Eastern, one of the guys is Indian, like from India.
Well, I guess what their thought was that the main characters were not Asian.
Yeah, but the main character was never Asian to begin with.
So here's the thought process on that. The media loves to jump all over anything that can get them, views, and everything is about whitewashing now, especially after the 2016 Oscars, where there were literally, like, I think maybe one thing that had anything not white in it was nominated. So the main character, Danny Rand, is white. He was always white.
He was white in the comic books too?
He was white in the comic books. He was, he's always been white.
Okay.
But one of the thought processes is that because this is a reimagining, they've made characters other races before, so why not make this character Asian from the general, again, China, Japan, that general neighborhood.
Yeah.
From what I thought about it, like they were thinking more like, this may not have been like the entire thing, but may have been part of it. Like a lot of SJWs are talking about a white guy going into Asian culture and appropriating the culture, that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, and you can sort of think that, but if you actually watch the show, which, by the way, I'm not huge into the comic books about Iron Fist either, so most of my information comes from the show, and it makes sense that he's not Asian. Now, whether or not he's white, he could have been black, he could have been American Indian, he could have been, anything, but he couldn't have been Asian because there's a whole thing in the story about him being an outsider.
Here's my thing.
And
does it matter? Why does it matter for people what skin color he is, what race he is? Why does it matter to people? That's my question.
It only matters to the sense of he has to be an outsider. But in terms of other people, I don't know.
See, Robbie hit on what exactly I was thinking. Why it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. When you're saying, well, he could have been black, he could have been Native American, whatever. Who gives a shit? Yeah, I mean, maybe I just I'm a little. Maybe I just don't give enough of a fuck. But I've never really looked at the skin color of a character and I can't watch the show because of him, or like, oh, that guy should have been black. What's wrong with the show? I've never been that kind of guy. Yeah, I mean, it just felt wrong.
I would say the thing that people are... I think that in this particular case, it's just the media trying to make a problem where there is none, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
In my opinion, it'll be like, if they keep him white, it'll be people bitching that he's not Asian. If they made him Asian, or say... Yes, if they made him Asian, it'd be people bitching, oh, they're just kowtowing to the SJW crowd.
Well, kind of like my point of view when I saw Deadshot was turned from white to black in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I personally had no, what do you call it? I had no...
Feelings either way?
Feelings about that either way, because I didn't really know who Deadshot was, other than he was kind of a lame character in the DC... TV shows, and I actually liked Will Smith in the role. I don't know.
I didn't like him in the role, but that's just me personally. But it's just he wasn't. Deadshot was a very special character, very special, as in not the kind of like, oh, you're so special, as in special, as in like, oh my god, you're a special little fuck, aren't you? So I thought when you get someone as diverse as Will Smith, you're kind of killing the possibility of what that role could be. You need somebody who's just a one-track mind kind of character, a one-track mind kind of actor for that role. Will Smith was too good for that role, in my opinion. He was way too good. They
wanted somebody that was going to sell the movie, so...
you want somebody who's going to sell the movie, not the role. Then I can understand. But if you want someone who's going to sell that role, you can't use Will Smith because he's too good. Like, Will Smith is a phenomenal fucking actor, but it's just for someone like that who's got a one-track mind, you literally just killed the role because he's too diverse, in my opinion.
Do you think they overcast it?
Did they? Yes. When you cast someone like Will, who else could have Will Smith been in that movie? I can't think of anybody else, to tell you the truth.
Well, he
Totally could have been Harley Quinn. No, but all seriousness, I don't know.
But yeah, I think the idea of whitewashing a movie is more like when they did it in Avatar, which there were no white characters in
they're all
Avatar.
blue.
Avatar was entirely around.
Come on! Oh, God.
No,
We should add that to the Stacy dad joke counter. If we had one.
but like making a single character black or white or Asian that wasn't in the previous form of medium, who cares?
Yeah.
The only thing that I will say is that making Danny Rand Asian wouldn't have worked. Just Asian. And that's the big thing that people are saying. He should have been Asian. No, it doesn't work as well. Because then you have to explain more about the character than is necessary. Whereas if they keep him white, which he is, or make him, black or something else, then they don't have to explain it as much. It's just an issue. It's a non-issue.
See, I have the same exact thought process, but a little bit different of a way of thinking of it. When you say it doesn't matter to you, they could change him any race. I go for the school of thought of going, I don't care. Why did you do it in the first place? Why does it matter enough to change it? Yeah, I mean,
right. And I would say that a lot of times, especially in the modern era, the reason they do change that type of stuff is for political correctness. The original characters were made in a time when making them anything but white would have been a taboo or a faux pas or whatever. And now they're trying to kind of autocorrect.
I can understand that completely. I really can. It just seems kind of silly to me, but I do understand what you're trying to say. I do completely. Okay, guys, we have to get into it at least once. And I'm talking about a little further into Casual's favorite universe, the Marvel universe, and one of Casual's favorite characters, Venom.
I never said Venom was a favorite character of mine.
It's sarcasm.
I don't have any feelings about Venom one way or the other.
We were sitting there talking off air one day. You were bashing him like crazy.
No,
we were bashing Carnage.
Yeah, but you also went into Venom too.
Carnage.
Yeah, I explained Venom.
No, you're bashing him.
I was not. Rad, back me up. Was I bashing Venom?
No, we were bashing Carnage. Rightfully so. We were bashing Carnage because he's a flat character.
Well, you said that Venom was part of the whole 90s edgy nonsense.
No, Carnage was.
No, Carnage was.
Oh my God.
Venom was created in the 80s.
Stacy, clean your ears out.
Oh my God. Anyway, Venom's getting a spin-off. Thoughts?
I've heard about that.
Is that like an
cash
spin-off?
Cash grab? Well, see, okay, a little bit of backstory, maybe. We did. He's a Sony. It's going to be a Sony movie. So Sony still retains the rights to all things Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
As far as visual media.
Yeah, so Venom could be a Sony thing, and we don't know how it connects to the MCU yet because there's no real information.
Very true. Very true. It's just, here's my worries, because I finally forced myself to watch all 3 of the Spider-Mans last night for this show. So all of you listening, be thankful and know that I love you, because I forced myself to watch that shit.
You still have 2 to go,
He really doesn't.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to be watching them either today or tomorrow. I'm going to force myself.
No,
I don't want to.
Don't
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for the show. Okay, I'm kind of dedicated. I'm also going to force myself to watch all of the X-Men, and then promptly tie myself a noose right afterwards too.
Oof, that's a lot of bad movies,
right?
Yeah.
All of you listening, I love you. All of you in the room with me right now, I love you too. I'm doing this for you guys, you bastards.
Stacey, when you say all the X-Men, does that include the Wolverine movies?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, I feel bad for you.
Oh, God, I've watched Origins once. I made it halfway through and just walked away. I couldn't. I'm going to force
Okay,
myself.
you don't have to watch the rest of it. Really?
Well, you're in luck, Stacy. The second half of X-Men Origins is amazing.
Fuck all of you. I hate you. Oh, yeah, I can hear that sarcasm just dripping. So here's the thing. After watching Spider-Man 3, which we're going to get into that soon, I promise you, because I have 5 pages of notes from Spider-Man of going, what the hell's going on with this? But Venom. What the hell did they do to Venom? He just looked wrong. Any opinions?
First of all, they went with the closer to the Ultimates version of Venom, which not everybody liked anyway. That's about all I have to say about that. The other thing I will say is Topher Grace was a terrible choice.
Now, am I wrong in remembering that the Venom didn't come to Earth on a meteor? It came to Earth with Jameson's son when he came back from the moon. Or am I incorrect about this?
I thought Spider-Man found him in during
Secret Wars.
Yes.
See,
Secret
my
Wars.
Venom knowledge comes from the cartoon. I'm not gonna lie. I'm that plebe who does not remember Venom from the comic books. So,
Well, I know very little about how Venom came to be, other than he was created in the 80s, and he was supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, one of those characters that was just kind of there and gone, but he was so popular, they kept him around forever.
okay, but he looks wrong in my opinion. He looks wrong because
I mean, how do you get like a liquidy space symbiote to look in a movie?
Here's my thing. When I thought of Venom, and every time I saw Venom, and when I think of what Venom's supposed to be, which is supposed to like enhance everything about you, all of your strength and all of your certain attributes about you, I think of just a damn near Hercules-looking motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Which is what Eddie Brock was originally.
Yeah, exactly. In the movie, he was just some string bean little cunt. But it's just, he's supposed to be just muscle bound and just looks like he just got back from doing Mr. Universe. You know what I mean? Obviously covered in black with a huge jaw and teeth everywhere and a huge tongue, but still, he's supposed to have muscle bound, and he just didn't look terrifying. Besides the jaw, he didn't look scary in the movie at all.
What he looked like was Eric Foreman with a black oil all over him.
Oh, mother of God. Oh, God.
We'll have to give Stacy a few minutes to process
God.
that.
No,
And
God.
keep in mind, for those that don't know, Eric Foreman was the character Topher Grace played in that 70s show. And he
right now.
kind of is always that character.
I didn't realize it until you pointed it out, actually. That was him.
Part of the problem, I would say, with the Venom character in the movie, and this is kind of a problem that most comic book movies have, is when the studio pays for an actor, they usually pay for the face. Yeah, sure, the talent's a great thing, but they pay for the face. Why do you think Tony Stark's Iron Man suit opens up the face mask all the time? And that's the same reason that Venom was constantly like the suit was peeling back to reveal Topher Grace.
Something I was going to point out in 2 different occasions within these 3 movies, but I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, a good point. They pay for the face, but it's just it felt wrong. It didn't feel scary. It just felt awkward. And the fight scene at the very end, where he killed him by banging pipes together.
Okay, that's from the comics.
No, but I'm talking kills him with the sound, not like, decimates him temporarily, and then he kind of peels back, and then here comes the big bomb. It just felt wrong. It felt so wrong. The whole thing just felt awkward. You know what I mean?
Well, that's because of I would call it a trope or a cliche from all comic book movies, where they feel it necessary to kill all their villains. You know, it's very rare that you get a Loki that keeps coming back, you know.
I really felt that Venom was one of those ones that needed to come back because he's so ingrained into the lore of Spider-Man. And also, if what they're planning on doing Carnage as Spider-Man 4 before they tanked it, wouldn't it have been perfect to have Venom? Because Carnage was an off part of Venom, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yes.
So how the fuck were they expecting to bring Venom in? I just mean Carnage in if they killed off Venom.
Carnage.
Yeah.
I mean, I can easily think of them doing it like with say Spider-Man kills Venom, maybe like a small piece of him survives and somehow finds Cletus Cassidy.
I suppose.
Yeah. It at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it wasn't just Venom that ruined that movie. It was the whole movie that ruined Spider-Man 3.
It was just I think I actually titled the entire Spider-Man 3 of "Can we get some more CGI with that CGI?" You know, it was just awkward. Plus the surfboard nonsense of the new Goblin, which they destroyed so many other things about the Spider-Man universe. Why not just call him the Hobgoblin? You're already slaughtered with a fucking spiky dildo. So many other things. Why not just call him the Hobgoblin? Fuck it, right?
I think the problem was that they fell into the same trap that Batman 89 fell into, in that they had one major villain in Spider-Man 1, they had one major villain in Spider-Man 2, and then either the writers just couldn't handle the job, or they felt like they needed to introduce more characters so that they could introduce more characters later, universe building. No, not universe building. Just like you were saying, Spider-Man 4 was supposed to have Carnage. Well, they needed to have Venom before Carnage, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There is a common trap in every comic book movie, or not every, but in a lot of comic book movies, where they just try and put too much in. And that was the problem with Spider-Man 3. They could have had an entire movie with only any one of those villains. They could have had the Green Goblin's Jr. come back. They could have had Venom in his own movie. They could have had Sandman as his own villain. But they just threw them all together, and they had to connect the dots.
It felt cheap.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't handle like 3 villains. Imagine how much of a clusterfuck a Sinister Six movie would have been.
Which is still theoretically on the books, but
I know, but hopefully done by a decent directing crew.
Here was another thing I had a problem with. I remember one of the main things with the Spider-Man Venom, the symbiote thing, was that the suit materialized on him. It just kind of squirted all over his face every single time when it came on and off. But now he runs around with it under his shirt, and he always has a suit. He just has to put the mask on. Then all of a sudden, nowhere, when he's up by the bell, he hits the bell, and it causes it to go nuts, and it falls off him. Then, and only then, is it now the actual symbiote that now it's the glob of Venom. Am I the only one confused and going, what the fuck are we supposed to think about this? Did they miss that they made it a suit, and then all of a sudden, nowhere, halfway through, like, fuck it, we're going to make it the symbiote again?
Well, when it first attaches to him, it just wants to be, it just takes on the form of what he wears most, which is a Spider-Man costume.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of takes the form of that, and the sound, screws it up, so to speak.
It's not that I'm bitching that it took the form of the Spider-Man suit. That's fantastic. I think because once again it kept with the actual lore of it. But I'm talking about the fact that Venom's the symbiote's supposed to materialize on his body and dematerialize, kind of like just like a fucking glob, not a suit.
I think the problem. Well, yes and no. Okay, so that gets into deep comic book lore stuff because the symbiote it never ever fully disappeared into him, because if it had done that even in the comics, then he wouldn't have kept it on in the first place. He would have been trying to get rid of it because he would have known, oh, something's up.
Yeah.
So in the comics, it did fake it was a suit.
Well, it would slob onto his face though, right?
No. It was like a shape-shifting outfit. That's what he originally thought it was. In the comics, he thought it was this alien outfit that shapeshifted to whatever he needed it to be.
I don't remember that. Okay.
But and then later he learned that it was trying to attach itself to him, blah blah blah. And the problem is exactly what I said before. They had too much going on, and they couldn't go into explaining all of the science and expositioning all the stuff about Venom, because Venom should have been an interesting character. The idea of what Venom is this thing that isn't a villain per se.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like some I want to take over the world, or I want all the money, or I want to kill everyone, or any of that. All he wanted was Peter Parker. And it's basically like a love affair.
Yeah.
And when he was spurned, or
Yeah.
when it was spurned, it attached to Eddie Brock, which is highly coincidental, but it's comic book. We can go with it. And Eddie Brock also hated Peter Parker. Therefore, Venom becomes this emotionally damaged creature that just wants to kill Spider-Man. It's his only goal in life, is to destroy Spider-Man. And they even went over it in a comic book where Eddie Brock finally catches Spider-Man. He's got him on the ropes. His spider sense isn't working. His powers are reduced to almost nothing. I don't remember how, and at the end of the day, Peter Parker says, "All right, Venom, if you want me, I'm yours." And the Venom suit is so in love with Peter Parker, it tries to leave Eddie Brock and go to Peter Parker. And it causes like a synaptic break because it's already fully attached to Eddie Brock, and then Eddie Brock and the Venom are like unconscious and stuff. But the point is that he's an interesting character that deserved to be a villain of his own in a movie, not combined with all of that other stuff.
I guess also at the end fight scene of Spider-Man 3, I was really like mind blown because
that was awful.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, they're sitting on top of a huge building, webbing everywhere. You know, Mary Jane in the fucking car because goddamn, Mary Jane's fucking always getting her dumb ass in trouble. You know, but you know,
of course,
yeah, I know. Well, we know why because she knew. Moving on. So there's Mary Jane in the car, and there's fucking Venom just sitting up there with webbing, and we're like, come get me, Spider-Man, writing messages in the web and shit. And there's Sandman blowing shit, like fucking throwing people everywhere. Here's the thing, okay? Funny, quick question. I've seen the military do some crazy shit in my time. Don't you think the military have been like, listen here, little fucking scrawny prick in the red and blue outfit. Keep your tights over there. We're going to kill everything. We're going to save Mary Jane ourselves. Am I wrong with thinking this? I know. I'm a 30-some-year-old guy bitching about comic book movies. I get this, okay? Trust me. I realize exactly how dumb I sound. But it's just, it seems silly. Because I think, I guess maybe it's the fact that I'm not 12 and, 12, 15 anymore. Watching these things and going, wow, this totally makes sense. Now I'm watching and going, this doesn't make a fucking lick of sense, man.
I agree. What do you want me to say here? I agree.
How can Thor fly by throwing a hammer?
Once again, I getting older, I'm just like, his shoulder would have fucking come out. What the hell, man? But it makes a little more sense because he's a god.
No, that's science. He's an alien.
He's a god.
He appears to God to those of lesser minds.
I suppose. Shut the fuck up.
They did like a thing, like it's a Thor movie where they explain away magic. Like, I come from a world of magic. You come from a world of science. No, it's like your ancestors called it magic. You call it science. I come from a world where they're one and the same.
Yeah.
And then they introduced real magic with Doctor Strange.
Well, they didn't just introduce magic. People kind of forget this, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the same time that Doctor Strange was coming out introduced the Ghost Rider. And when they went to explain his powers, the agents, they made, so what are you, like, are you Inhuman? Are you whatever? And he said, "No, I made a deal with the devil." And there's a beat where they kind of smile like he's joking, and it cuts back to him straight faced, and then it cuts back to them saying, "Oh." So they've now introduced the supernatural at the same time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just oh. Oh.
So in 1 year, they introduced the supernatural, they introduced magic, and then we're gonna get a buddy road movie with the Hulk and Thor. I honestly can't wait to see that. I am looking forward to it.
I honestly can't wait to see some semblance of the Planet Hulk. Or a
Well, that
Do you think
might
they're gonna do it?
be leading into it, because they're doing the way it sets up is Thor gets banished, and he ends up on this planet where Hulk is a gladiator and destroying literally everyone, and then they have to make their way back. So that might be, I can't say for certain, but it might be the setup for Planet Hulk.
That would be
Do you think they
interesting.
Yeah, do you think they'd ever introduce Beta Ray Bill?
That would be fun.
I don't know. I mean, they could. They have Guardians of the Galaxy. We've accepted that.
Thor 3 could also be leading into Thor having to give up his mantle for a female Thor.
That's a possibility too. There's a lot of talk about them getting rid of the old cast by introducing some new characters.
Yeah,
You know,
like people
in the
for
same
mantles.
role.
Yeah, people just like passing the mantle down onto a new character.
Yeah, like there's been talk of Captain America passing down the shield, Iron Man moving on and giving the suit to somebody else.
For Captain America, who would you rather see take the mantle, Falcon or Bucky?
That's a hard one, because Falcon would be an interesting take on it because he's purely human.
Yeah, I mean, he's the current Captain America in the comics.
But Bucky would be obviously more theoretically capable because he's got the cyber arm. I don't know.
Okay, here's my thing. I know next to nothing about Captain America. I'll admit this, but what I know of it comes from my stepdad, who religiously read the comic books for Captain America, and I remember him watching all the stuff for the new Bucky, and he was like, "This doesn't make sense. I don't remember any of this from the comic books. They reinvented Bucky." Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I mean, the new Winter Soldier's only been introduced in since 2005, I think.
okay, that would explain it. He's an older guy. He's like a part of the older canon for Captain America. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, so this is canon. So are we talking?
Well,
we're going to keep with the newer Bucky, or we're going to bring it back to older Bucky if he passes it down? What?
I
The
think
old Bucky would be weird.
I think the problem that what you're discussing is a problem that a lot of people have, and that is that they don't look at the current medium, movies, TV, whatever, and take it as just a new version. They tend to compare it entirely to the comics and say, this wasn't in the comics. Well, no, because this isn't the comics.
What?
This is the movies.
I think a lot of people, I'm guilty of it myself, fall in love so much with that story they grew up on that they want to see that story brought to the masses and have other people understand why they love it so much.
I will make a point related to this. The Watchmen movie. It was in most places a shot-for-shot recreation of the comic, minus the ending, and yet the movie got killed for it.
I thought it was fucking fantastic.
I liked the movie better than the comic. That's right. I said it.
I love the movie. Fuck you guys. I don't care, man. I thought the movie was fucking fantastic. I still, as you guys know, I have a problem watching movies. Like last night, it happened a little bit where I was kind of getting a little weird. But I love watching The Watchmen. I think it's a fucking amazing movie. Absolutely amazing.
I like it also. That was just a general perception when the movie came out. It was that, the comics are better, aren't this movie's not that good. It's like that's probably one of the most fatal adaptations of a comic you could possibly do.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, there's always that stereotypical complaint. Oh, the book was better, or the comic was better.
Worst movie ever.
Yeah, I would say that one of my favorite lines in a movie based on a comic is from Hellboy. And it was a line that was purposely put into there because of the idea that comic book adaptations suck. And it's a point where Hellboy is the human guy that's supposed to be our connection to the universe. I can't remember his name, the FBI guy.
John something, I think.
Whatever. He picks up a Hellboy comic. And by the way, it wasn't based on an actual Hellboy comic. It was actually based on Action Comics #1, but that's beside the point. He picks up... Or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't based on Action Comics #1. It was based on Amazing Fantasy #15, which was Spider-Man's first appearance.
Oh,
anyway,
nerd.
Total nerd. So he picks up the comic, and Hellboy looks over at the comic that he's picked up, and he says, "I hate those things." And that was the filmmaker kind of saying, this is not the comic. This is the film. That being said, I liked the film, so.
It was okay. It was not
I like
perfect.
I like how Wolverine, like in the new Logan film, kind of has that moment as well. He picks up a comic and is like, "We have an X-Men fan, huh?"
Oh yeah,
maybe-
that was
It didn't happen that way.
Yeah,
That
maybe
was
a quarter this happened and not like this.
that was a really good moment in Logan. By the way, I want to go on record and say Logan was a good film.
Oh yeah,
I remember last
just really
podcast
depressing.
you were a bit. It was good, but you kind of seemed up in the air.
I reevaluated my thoughts on it, and I want to say from a movie perspective, it was good. It was, but I'm not changing my opinion that it was super depressing.
Okay, sounds good. You want to talk about shit that's super depressing? Do you want to?
Sure.
Have you ever sat there and looked at a country and went, "Thank Christ, I'm not part of that country. I don't live there."
Oh yeah.
I've looked at Australia so many fucking times and said this, but this is another one of those times. Outlast 2. Did you hear about it? It's now banned in Australia.
Australia bans all kinds of games.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
I just want to look my
I
buddy
didn't
Wild
know
and say,
that.
"How the fuck do you stay here?"
And yet they give us things like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Well, technically, that was an American movie.
But okay, here's the thing, guys. The Australian government, the classification board, states that Outlast 2 has been identified to depict, express, or otherwise deal with matters of sex, drug misuse, or addiction, crime, cruelty, violence, or oh God, in such a way that they offend against the standards of morality, decency. Okay, listen, motherfuckers. You let Deadpool come into your country, but you won't let Outlast come into your country? What?
You've played Fallout 3, right?
Oh God, yes, I love that game. You just speedrun
Okay.
it.
Did you ever use the item called MedX?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that was originally going to be called morphine.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. But Australia, in order to get the game released in Australia, they changed the name of it to MedX because the Australian government was unhappy with it being called morphine.
The land of alcoholics and fucking sheltered children. Jesus Christ, really? Really?
Yep.
That's my point of view either, folks. That's my buddy who came from Australia. I go to see him all the time, and he was sitting there, "What do you think of your country?" He's like, "The land of fucking alcoholics and sheltered children," because he was bitching about some movie being banned from Australia at that point in time. I was like, Jesus H. Christ. He's like, "Yeah, that's all we do. We sit there and get drunk all day long and bitch." But so I don't get it. Why? Why? What's wrong with... Outlast 1 was okay, but now Outlast 2? What?
The official statement is that they refuse to grant it, the highest rating, citing that the game depicts sexual violence.
But what about when they're sitting there and...
Sexual violence? Okay. What are they doing in this game? Now I want to play it more.
Right, dude? I'm also thinking when the dude was jerking off over the dead dude's body, wouldn't that also be considered sexual violence in a way? Right?
Immediately beat the guy to death with his dick first.
Well, there were the two twins that were naked and talking about how they wanted to fuck your dead body. Right?
What in the world game are you guys playing?
Outlast.
And how can I get a copy?
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, seriously, man. Oh, I
Outlast
forgot.
is a funny game.
South Park: The Stick of Truth was also heavily edited to enter Australia.
They might as well not have let it in then.
Right? It just seems so stupid, man. I don't get it. I just don't get it, man.
I don't know. It's the sensibilities of some people.
Well, the worst part is for that stuff is it's not even the people that are making these decisions. It's a bunch of upper government folk. Because if the people had the choice without, the government interfering, they wouldn't care. They would just buy the games they want to buy anyway, which they do, by the way. There's plenty of ways to get these games.
Well, yeah, exactly. They apparently have forgotten this thing called the internet exists. And also sending your buddy a fucking flash drive exists. Who knew, right? I don't understand this. It's just this whole thought process of we need to shelter our people. Okay, maybe it's just me, but I never understood why governments do that. Why they think they need to shelter their people. Why they think they need to tell their people what they can and cannot watch or play. It's just stupid.
It's not to get too politically incorrect here, but it's because parents are stupid.
Oh, fuck those kids. Fuck them. Fuck those cunts, dude.
And I know you're a parent, but I'm assuming you're one of the good ones. That actually monitors their kids.
Yeah.
And when I say monitor, I'm not talking about one of those helicopter parents. I'm just saying that you know what your kids are doing, generally speaking, and such.
My youngest son's not allowed to play BioShocks, any of them, because they're just too fucking violent, realistic violence. We let our kids play the fantasy violent games because, what world, he's going to be playing D&D. What world is he going to be going out in the real world? Oh shit, it's a dragon and beats the shit out of it with a stick. It's just not going to happen. But you could see where he would put humans and humans together. So we're going to say you got to grow up and mature a little bit before that. Victor, on the other hand, my middle boy, he understands. Hey, I'm not allowed to walk out there and mow down a whole field of people with a Gatling gun. So yeah, it's okay that you play some of this shit. Yeah, I mean you just have to be a parent. You have to understand what the fuck your kids are. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and last night, sorry, I know this is a different medium, but last night I was watching a TV show called Bottom, and it's got a lot of physical slapstick violence in it. In it, one guy was slamming another guy's head in the fridge, and he just looks at the camera and says, let's say television and violent television causes violence in the youth these days, but look at me, I'm slamming his head into a fridge, and we haven't got a TV.
Well, also, it brings back the memories of wrestling, man. I remember when I was a kid, wrestling was a big thing that, Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage, which, mind you, I was watching the first Spider-Man, made me happy as hell to see Randy again because I miss him so much. But,
Bonesaw is ready!
Ooh, yeah. God damn it, I love Savage. I was a huge Savage fan. But, I remember watching all this stuff growing up and, all the parents, I remember there was huge debates on talk shows. There was talk of trying to ban wrestling because they thought that wrestling was going to bring about violence within children. No!
Please.
Sure, we did backyard wrestling, but we never thought, hey, I'm going to jump off the top of this house and, body slam you because you're just going to walk away. All my friends went, that's fake. We thought that, some of the beefs were real, but we didn't think that, jumping off the top of a fucking ladder and landing on you when the whole ring goes up and down. Yeah, no, that's purely from the body that you just bent metal and made it straighten out again. No, we knew it was fake, but we thought the storylines were real because we're fucking idiots. We're kids, but did any of you guys have that problem where you thought that shit was real too?
I was a very young kid when I watched wrestling, so I didn't think it was. I knew it was like somewhat fake, like some like pulled punches and things like that.
Yeah.
But I genuinely thought like some of the more like acrobatic maneuvers and things like when like you get like for the really bloody matches. I thought those were more real than they actually are.
Like ECW type of stuff. Were you talking about? Back when ECW was separate.
Yeah. I thought like I knew that it was like somewhat fake, but I didn't realize how fake it was.
Okay.
We used to have the discussion, me and my friends, when I was a kid watching those, about what was fake and what wasn't. Like, and it's all fake. But what I will say now is that my perspective on the whole wrestling thing is that while I always knew it was fake, I never had a respect for the wrestlers until I got older, and I realized they might be faking the fights, you know, and all of the soap opera around it and everything, but they're really good athletes.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they're to do all that stuff. They've got to be like the caliber of a fight choreographer or a stuntman.
You know, I tried going back and watching it again. I did actually a while back, and I felt like it changed so much. It felt 20 times more fake than it really was. Is that just, you know, looking at it through rose-colored glasses, or has it really been super cheesy since back when we were kids?
I think it was always super cheesy.
So it's just the rose-colored glasses kind of thought?
I feel like yes, because I remember some of the, you know, the ridiculous scenarios they used to have, and all of the in-character fighting. You know, oh, the Hulk is versus, you know, this character, and Team Hulk. Until he went bad because
Bundy.
the ratings went down, and
you know, I do remember. I just remembered this. There was this one really cheesy thing back when I was a kid. Even I was like, "What the hell's going on?" It showed up. Do y'all remember Sid Vicious?
Yes, I do.
sure.
Oh yeah, that little heroin freak looking guy. It was like a combination of it was like a cocktail of heroin, meth, and just like the purest cocaine possible. You know, he just looked like he was hopped up on something, man. But he was out there doing an interview, and then there was supposed to be this new wrestler, this new character that was going to debut. He came busting through the wall like he was supposed to. He fell down. His helmet that he was wearing fell off. And that's when he stood up and realized, as he put it back on, what it was. Because he was talking, it was already overdubbed, and he was like, you know, lip syncing, but he had a mask on, so you couldn't see it. But it was a fucking Stormtrooper helmet that was spray painted white, and he was wearing, so it wasn't even latched on when he was wearing it as he walked out, so that's why it fell off when he fell. It was just so cheesy, and you could see Sid Vicious going, "This fucking amateur, I swear to God." You know? It was so bad. But, you know, I didn't really think much of it. Now looking back on it, I'm like, God damn, that was, you know, I guess after asking that question, I probably should have thought about that whole incident first. But, you know, still, even that, though, it didn't seem as cheesy as it does now. But once again, as Casual pointed out, it probably is just rose-colored glasses of going, shit was so much better back when I was a kid, you know? And every generation's terrible with that, though.
I recommend you don't go back and watch the cartoons that you used to watch. They weren't as good as you remember.
There's only one that was. There's only one.
Except Animaniacs.
Batman the Animated Series.
Yep, that's it. I own it, and I love watching it. I have my kids watch it, and they're fucking insane with it, too. Yeah, that's one of the few good ones. I remember trying to go back and watch the Spider-Man, and I was just like...
The Spider-Man cartoon is beyond terrible.
But I loved it when I was a kid. Why?
I tried to watch old Transformers thinking, cartoons were so much better when I was a... no, they aren't.
Well, it reminds me of... I remember that Power Rangers is coming out, the new movie. So the website Twitch that I stream on, and we all got to know each other through, they're doing a whole thing where they're broadcasting all the old episodes of...
all 831 episodes of Power Rangers, starting from all 23 seasons, or 16 days straight.
Okay.
I watched it. I went and watched the first few episodes and went, oh my God, I liked this shit. This is cheesy even for Godzilla. Even Godzilla wasn't this cheesy.
So here's what Power Rangers was. A little bit of background first.
Yeah.
Power Rangers was actually 2 shows, because what it was some American company bought the rights to a Japanese show,
Saban.
which
the
was
Super
not,
Sentai.
Yeah, which was not called Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Super Senpai?
And the
Super Sentai.
Oh, Senpai. Oh, yeah.
the oh my god.
Damn it, Stacey.
So the show was the high school portion, the part where they're speaking English and you can see their lips, when they're not in the costume. That was all filmed in America, and then they added in the Super Sentai, whatever it was, later.
Yeah.
So it was 2 shows brought into one. Now, what I'm going to say,
the first the first 3 seasons of Power Rangers were actually, based on maybe 2 or 3 Sentai shows, because the original Power Rangers were from one show, and then the Green Ranger was from that show, but the White Ranger was from a completely different Sentai series, the Sentai series after the rest of them.
It's kind of a
and then and then after that they had the Alien Rangers coming when the Power Rangers were turned into kids, and that was from a different Sentai show. And then after that they actually started changing this Power Ranger series with the Sentai show.
Right. So what I will say though is I've seen the trailers for the new Power Rangers movie. I never liked the Power Rangers, by the way. I think I was too old for it because it came out in the
August 28th, 1993.
Okay, yeah. So I was already in high school. I was almost out of high school, so the way that show was just not my kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to admit, based on the trailers I've seen for the new Power Rangers movie, I might want to watch it.
I'm definitely going to watch it.
One thing I have to say about Power Rangers is this. It seems, and also Super Senpai too. I'm going to call it that for the rest of eternity. I hope you guys are happy. But Super Sentai is that it truly feels like they were the kings of jumping the shark. Which I hope everybody understands that reference of jumping the shark. It's from Happy Days. The Fonz, I believe his name. Yeah, the Fonz actually went and jumped a fucking shark with his... Wasn't it a boat or some shit?
Well, I thought he was water skiing, I think.
Okay, that's what it was. Thank you.
In his leather jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just... He was in Bermuda shorts and his leather jacket on water skis, and he jumped over a shark on a ski, jump thing.
Basically, just trying to get, quite literally, that's where the term came from, jumping the shark, because they were trying to drive up interest in the show again.
Personally, I think
it's pretty much the point where a show has obviously run out of ideas, and so they're going to try just throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks.
And that
personally, I think they're the kings of jumping the cameraman. So that's a bad joke. Every season of Power Rangers, there's at least one scene where they jump over the cameraman.
Oh yes, Jesus. But see, it feels like to me that they're the kings of jumping the shark, because what they went from regular Power Rangers to aliens, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they're fucking cowboys. What?
Cowboys?
My kids turned it on. No, it was my kid. It was my nephew turned it on one day, and I was sitting there and I just kind of, I felt brain cells starting to pop.
There hasn't been a cowboy season. Currently, they're ninjas again.
There were cowboys.
Well,
once.
keep in mind that a lot of shows will do one of those one-off things, and maybe that's what you saw.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's Power Rangers Western.
Yeah, keep in mind that the Sentai, Super Sentai, or Super Senpai, if you want to call it that, had been going. I think Power Rangers started in the 90s, but Sentai started in the 60s. So there was a shit ton of series before Power Rangers even got started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I just posted a link in chat for you guys if you want to look at it. But yeah, it's the whole thing. I wish it would work. It won't post for you guys. But yeah, it's Power Rangers Western. It had 40 episodes, and it's weird, man. It's weird. Just fucking tassels on the arms and shit. It's just stupid, man.
Well, the whole show was stupid.
True, but this was particularly dumb.
The movie has the potential to be to be good. I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not going to say it will be good. I'm saying it has the potential to be good because the movie, unlike the series, and this goes back to why I gave the background, is going to be taking the lore, quote unquote, of the Power Rangers, the basic idea, just, that they, and retooling it for a movie. So it's going to be its own thing, theoretically.
I'm trying to find a picture of it for you guys. I really want you guys to see this.
Was this like the end of the Morphin series?
I'm not sure.
Because because Power Rangers Aqua Force is the Alien Rangers.
Yeah, so I have it pulled up here. This looks like, based on the cast that I see, this is like the original run, so to speak, of the Power Rangers. This was a 2-part episode. The 50th and 51st episode was a 2-parter where they end up in the Old West.
Really? Because it said there was 40 episodes. Weird. Unless I misread the wiki, that's entirely possible. But yeah, Jesus.
Oh, Stacey, you're on like the Power Rangers fan wiki.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think this is a real series.
It's a real thing. I swear to Christ, I saw them in tassels. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm saying.
I swear that I've been keeping up to date with Power Rangers since it started, and I've never seen any of these series.
You know what? I'll just take it that I'm nuts. How about that?
He also likes them.
Well, nuts, yes, not Power Rangers. There's nothing wrong with a good big donger, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, slap me, senpai, super senpai, oh, yeah.
That's the next season of Power Rangers.
Exactly. Instead, they threw off the cowboy hats, now they have dongers. That's what they fight with. They fight with humongous...
Go, Porno Rangers!
Robbie! I need you to fund a porn. Will you do this for me?
Oh, God, if it exists, there's probably already a porn of it.
God damn it. We need to do this.
Rule 34.
We need to do this if this is in the thing, man.
I'm watching the current Super Sentai, which is like 2 seasons past what Power Rangers currently is.
Yeah.
And there's like 9 base Rangers.
Really?
Yeah, it's like there's red, blue, yellow, black, green, orange, gold, silver.
Puce is in there
the
somewhere.
Little children of the world.
Just Puce gets in there. Pretty soon it's like rainbow colored. I'm a Power Ranger. I've come to defend the rights of the undergoing, if you know what I mean.
To think about it, what other show can have a white Power Ranger and a black Power Ranger?
Oh, God, rad.
I will also admit I do like that line in the trailer where one of them says, "I'm black," and then the black guy says, "No, you're not."
Okay, you go on. All right, so let's go to something completely different, guys, because we've been talking about random, weird, stupid Shift McElroy kids. I want to talk about some more random, weird Shift McElroy kids, because it's totally a different topic. Well, sort of weird. Video game creators' mindsets of ROMs, and ROM hacks in particular. Okay. Now, growing up, we played games that we love, like Castlevania, Pokemon, Earthbound is one of my personal favorites. All these games we grew up loving, right? What about ROM hacks? Do you know what they are, first off?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a emulated version of a game that they've taken it apart. It's basically like one of those fan-made games, only it's a specific set of tools.
Exactly. So like they're on Earthbound, one of my favorite games, they'll have like Halloween edition where it's all super creepy, then they'll have super difficult versions of it, and they'll just the one person Undertale, the creator of Undertale, whatever that guy's name is, he started off as a ROM hack maker for Earthbound. And then he took elements of his story that he did in his Earthbound ROM hacks and put it into his game Undertale. Now, those are freaking phenomenal. And really all it is looking at the company that made it and saying, you guys made an amazing game. We love you. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. But we want to show you how much we love your game by making our own version of it. They're not making money off it. Zero profit is going towards the creator of the ROM hack. But there's still people like, Big Bad Nintendo who are saying you're not allowed to do this, and they're shutting the sites down, which one was just shut down. What are your opinions on this? Should they be able to shut them down?
Yes.
And why?
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, I say yes. And the only reason I say yes is because of copyright and business practices. As a content creator, what they have done... Imagine somebody takes the Mona Lisa and they change her smile. Now, they haven't modified the original painting. They've just kind of made a copy and, added a new smile or maybe made her frown.
Okay.
You're still taking the original content that
Da
somebody...
Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Thank you. You're still taking the
You can
original
almost hear
content.
this disdain in his voice of, how did you not know this? It's Leonardo da Vinci.
You could also hear the gears spinning in my head going, oh God, I'm going to be crucified for not knowing this. Anyway, it's taking the original artist, because game makers are artists,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
their material, and modifying it. Now, it is never original, because the whole concept is taking their content and making your own thing out of it. Now, that means that the original content creator should have the rights over their content. This is my content, they will say, and they are right. And the problem is that, like you were saying, nobody's making any money off of it unless
Exactly.
they are selling it, which that does happen.
Unfortunately,
But-
yeah. But that's my whole argument is I can understand why if someone took the Mona Lisa and made her frown and sold it, that they could be, they could be gone after if Da Vinci was still alive. I can understand that 1,000,000%, but the fact that is, once again, nobody's making money off of these sites. There's not even, a lot of these sites don't even have ad revenue. I mean, if there's ad revenue, that'd be one of those catch-22, okay to make money because it's just an ad on the site. You're not making money off the download itself kind of thing, I guess. But even a lot of these sites I've seen with zero ads. And they're still getting taken down because the fact that the original creator, which is, don't even have some of these games up on the Nintendo store, are pulling down because that's our content. Fuck you. I mean,
If you do not enforce your copyright trademarks, then eventually you'll get to, if you don't enforce it, it becomes harder to enforce it, and eventually, the law in the United States says, if you do not actively enforce your brand or trademark, then eventually we will declare it common, and therefore nobody will have rights to it.
I guess it's just, it feels so incredibly wrong for a video game company to say, sorry fans, I know you liked it, but go fuck yourself. Yeah, I mean, especially when I already own the cart. I have the cart in my hand. I can show pictures of me owning it, which means by legal copyright laws, I can have the ROM. So why can't I have a ROM hack?
Well, technically, the whole ROM legalities are not.
Well, as long as you have the cartridge, as far as laws go right now, you're allowed to own the cartridge, allowed to own the ROM as quote unquote a backup.
Right, but even then you're talking about, sure, you can own the ROM, but the emulator itself is technically illegal because the emulator that you're using is proprietary technology that was, blah, blah, blah. It just becomes a huge legal issue, it's... Again, I say, yes, they have the right, but it all comes down to should they, and, Rad brought it up. Yes, they should, or else they start to give up their rights. And if you do that, then people can make money off of it.
Here's the thing, though. They're not actually breaking the copyright, in my opinion, though. Like, this is how I've always looked at it. I don't see an issue with copyright when it's just... They're literally just making a fan version they're passing around to their friends. That's like making a mod for a game and saying, "Oh, nope, you're not allowed to do that because it's, you might steal our copyright." That's bullshit.
If it's a fan version of say like Earthbound Halloween Edition, Nintendo may decide to sell Earthbound on a virtual console, sometime in the future. If you've played, the reasoning goes, if you played the Halloween edition, why would you buy the regular edition? So you're cannibalizing sales from us.
I completely disagree. Because you want to have the electronic version so your cart does not die. That's why you would buy it. Plain and simple. And I understand... Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say on Rad's point is that he's not just saying, it's not about you having the cart anymore, especially in the virtual era.
Yeah.
You're talking about he's talking about the Halloween edition, which doesn't exist anywhere except a ROM hack.
True. And then in that case, if they try to put out a Halloween edition, they would have to worry about copyright against the creator of the ROM hack.
There you go. And that's why they have to go after these things in order to retain the rights to their product, because what if, and the odds of it happening, I know, are probably worse than the odds of winning the lotto.
Yeah.
But the idea is that if we want to release a Halloween edition of this game, it's just about retaining rights.
I was more going off of, you play the Earthbound Halloween edition, why would you ever play the regular Earthbound that Nintendo sells?
Because the fucking original is the basis of all the ROM hacks. It is the foundation. It's what made those games. That's what makes all those the ROM hacks amazing. I mean, the Earthbound community itself is still thriving to this day. It's amazing how popular the game still is for just being a little weird, kind of awkward game that really was just hitting on pop references, pop culture references through and through the whole way through the game.
Well, so I've only played Earthbound probably 10 minutes total. It's really not my thing.
Yeah.
So just for sake of argument's sake, I've never played it before. So I download the Halloween edition, I play through that, and I think, oh, it's amazing. All right, why would I want to play the original one? I've already played it.
I would say the exact opposite argument. If you've already played the original, why would you want to play a ROM hack? Because you want to get a different experience out of the game. Same exact reason why you'd want to play the original. But you've
already played the original, and you've already bought the original. I'm coming from the other side. Played Halloween edition first.
But yes, wouldn't you want a different experience out of the game, though? If you loved it so much?
Maybe not.
Maybe if you feel like the original will be lesser.
I disagree.
Or maybe what I think Rad is saying is maybe you don't maybe you don't have this amazing experience with the game. Maybe you played it once. It's kind of leads into the piracy issue of the actual game. Why pay for X when you've already played Y?
I understand, and you guys are suggesting as if I don't understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. I just completely and utterly throw it away because I feel it's not an issue. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's
it is an issue. That's why piracy exists.
I will never ever believe that someone will play a ROM hack and go, you know what, fuck the original game. No, man. First off, the percentage of people who are going to play the ROM hack before playing the original game, fucking minute. Except for some Undertale freaks are going to go, oh yes, Undertale the greatest thing ever. Fap. We have to play the, what's that guy's name? The creator of Undertale. Does anybody remember even?
Toby Fox.
Toby Fox. I got to play Toby Fox's version of the game. But there's going to be a minute percentage, yes. But most people, almost everybody who's going to play that game is going to play the original before the ROM hack. I would challenge you to find me one person who played a ROM hack before playing the original game and did not want to play the original game, therefore deciding to buy the original game.
But you're kind of missing the point of the discussion, which is The reason they have to go after the ROM hack is because of piracy.
Well, honestly, if they figure out a way to reinforce their fucked up little laws, I could see it not being an issue. But the problem is that these copyright laws are so fucked already and just so ass backwards. You can't
especially
fucking enforce
when you
them half the time.
consider China, who doesn't follow any of anyone's copyright laws.
Egg fucking Zach. It's just, I do understand what you guys are saying. I reject it wholeheartedly. I guess that's the best way to say it. You know?
I reject reality and substitute my own.
I don't know, man. I do understand. I do. Don't get me wrong. I do understand that piracy is a huge issue, and that's something I've fought against for a long time, like even on my streams, where people come in like, hey, do you know where I can get this game for free? I'm like, how about you go buy it, you fucking worthless slug? You know,
let me give you an alternate perspective on piracy in general.
Okay.
I draw sometimes, and I had some stuff on DeviantArt, which is a site for you to post art.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I found one of my pieces that somebody had taken and was calling their own. All they had done was colored it.
Did you put a watermark on it?
But you're missing my point. They had taken my piece of thing, they had colored it, and they had called it their own.
Did you protect yourself, though? Did you
now
take
they
the steps?
They are not trying to sell it. They're just calling it their own.
Did you take the steps to protect yourself?
You're missing the point. It has nothing to do with taking steps to protect yourself. They're taking my thing.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
That's what these companies are trying to protect themselves. They're taking the steps. They're the ones actually taking the steps to protect themselves. That's why, yes, they have every right to do so.
See, I think it's a little ass backwards there because with something like DeviantArt, you need to go upon the steps to make sure that your watermark is there. Make sure you're
No,
good.
you don't. The steps are already there. The art is all as soon as you upload something, DeviantArt has a policy where anything you upload is copyright protected, and you can legally fight against somebody taking your product. It doesn't matter if there's a watermark there or not. The watermark is just there to stop people from downloading it and doing whatever they want with it. It doesn't actually. That's not the protection. The protection is already there.
No, that's because you're depending on a fucking website, man. Come on now.
The watermark is a good way to show. See, I'm trying to protect myself. So therefore, go after them.
But
right, but my point still stands. Watermark or no watermark, my point stands that a person's creation theoretically should be theirs. They should own it because they created it. And if you do a ROM hack or if you pirate something, you are stealing their content. And therefore, whether you like it or not, they have every right to go after you for
legally,
stealing their content.
And I don't agree with it. But here's the thing: as I find you are looking at it from two totally different, like as you pointed out with movies and comic books, two totally different spectrums. Same exact thing with artwork. If you take somebody else's artwork, even if there's a watermark on it, and say it's your own, that's totally fucking different. Where a ROM hack literally is just taking the original product with zero profit being made off of it, if you're the true people, in all honesty, and just changing a little bit to go look at a different version of it. You don't make money off it. You're just going, I love this game. Let me share you with it.
I just explained it.
No, you are not.
I said
it's two totally different points of view.
I drew something.
Yes.
I drew the picture.
Yes.
The other person did not draw the picture.
Yes.
Right.
They didn't alter. Okay, you're looking at two totally different. You're doing
I just
blatant
said
copyright.
They altered it by coloring it.
No.
Bring it down.
Come on now.
We're doing
really? You're
okay.
going to say that is more or less the thought process behind a ROM hack?
It's altering it. That's what I'm saying. It's altering the product.
Oh, come on.
And saying it's yours. Now, a ROM hack, they're not trying to say it's theirs, but you have to protect your product, is what I'm saying. If you don't protect your product, then somebody is going to, like Rad said, eventually say, well, I made this. It's mine.
No matter what, you're always going to have people that do that, whether you're protected or not. I'm sorry. That whole thought is crazy. But I to say that because somebody colored your piece, it's the same exact thing as a ROM hack, I just look at that as two different spectrums that don't correlate whatsoever.
It's still stealing.
What happened to you was blatant stealing. I'll agree with that 1,000,000%. I will never argue that. But saying that a ROM hack, which is just saying, I love this game, please go buy it, but here's my little twist on it, I just have a hard time calling that stealing. You know what I mean?
But it is. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. It's stealing their product and redistributing it as something else. I
would disagree with that as a definition, but I respect it. You know? Well, yeah, I disagree. That's all. I 1,000,000% disagree.
Well, this is fun.
Well, it's okay to have discussions, guys. I have a hard time calling that stealing. Anyway, moving on to a totally different subject that hopefully will bring about less arguing.
But arguing is fun.
Oh, it is. I love it. It's just everybody else is getting uncomfortable, unfortunately. Actually, you know, something else that would actually go great with the copyright concept. Mystery Science Theater. Now, who here was a fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000?
I was.
I was a raging fan of it. I watched it every day I could.
I never watched it, but it seems like a TV show that if I knew it existed, I probably would have watched it.
Rad, did you ever watch it?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, it's basically the whole thought process behind the show is this: is that they watch stupid, cheesy movies, and there's an actual quote-unquote plot, but it's very loosely there just to have a reason why they're watching the movies, you know? But basically, they're trapped on a ship in space, and they're being tortured as an experiment by a mad scientist in the first season to watch all these dumb, bad movies and stuff like that. All that stupid crap, right? Well, basically what it is, the whole thought process behind it is that they watch really cheesy, stupid movies, and then they make fun of it the whole way through. Now, they would have to go through and buy the copyright for these movies, and eventually it just got to be too expensive because movie theaters realized what they're doing and making fun of their shitty-ass movies, and they started to crank up the copyright price on them, you know what I mean? Now, their Mystery Science Theater is coming back for one more episode, which was fan-funded by Kickstarter. First off, and I liked, because this is proposed by Casual, and I like the way he worded this. Did you love it, and was it ever truly, really good? And is it needing to come back?
I have to say no, because I just recently, it's on Netflix. They have a few episodes on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I watched about 3 of them, and I have to say that it wasn't as good as I remember.
Really?
It's probably pretty similar to like when you go back and watch Ren and Stimpy or Beavis and Butthead. You know, you watch it now and you're just kind of, oh, why did I like that? But at the time you watched it, it was what you were into, and it was enjoyable, which is kind of similar to the wrestling thing we talked about earlier.
I suppose it's just, I remember how wonderful it was watching these funny things. Like, I remember sitting at home doing the same exact thing in my living room, making fun of these things. And now I get to watch somebody do what I do and make fun of it, but do it better than me. This is awesome, man. You know, and I remember when they actually did a full-fledged movie where they went out into theaters, and unfortunately it flopped, even though it was fucking hilarious. They made fun of I Blame My Parents. Now, if I remember correctly, is it I Blame My Parents or what was it? Do you guys remember?
The movie they did?
Yeah.
It was When Worlds Collide.
No, I blame my parents. That's what it was. I could have swore that's what it was. I accused my parents. Wasn't that it? I could have swore I accused my parents was a full-fledged movie. Wasn't it?
It was When Worlds Collide.
Was it that?
Hold on, let me...
Oh, shit, I'm probably losing my mind here.
MST3K movie.
Let me see. I'm digging up as we speak here, guys. I'm sorry, okay?
Yeah, it was called Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, because, you have to call it that. And let me see if I can find, because it's all posters and stuff.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I accused my parents was an episode. That's my fault. I apologize.
Oh, wait. It might have been, was it This Island Earth?
All you hear is keyboard. We have to find this.
Yeah, it was This Island Earth.
That, god damn it. Yes, I fucked up. That, and I remember watching it going, this is hilarious. This is awesome. And people it never really caught on the mainstream, which sucks. Well, the Kickstarter came about and funded one more episode. Now, do you think it's going to take off? Do you think they're going to bring it back? Or do you think it's just something that's past its prime and will never be a thing again? Because there's a new website called, Rift Tracks, which is the crew Mike and the two robots making fun of movies left and right, and it's just their voices, and that's it. And they manage to skate around it by saying that they're just going to sell you just the vocal track that you have to play on top of the movie that you already own.
Right.
But do you think it's still got a place, or do you think it's just past its prime now?
I think, honestly, it was past its prime before it stopped airing.
Really?
I think that the concept was great, but it lasted too long. And when they did Rift Tracks, I don't know. I never had any interest in the Rift Tracks because I was already beat past that. It was they did it. It was fine, but I don't know. I don't think it's something that needs to come back because they already have Rift Tracks, To me, it sounds like a desperate attempt to bring something back that nobody wants. And the Kickstarter, you could argue, well, it got kickstarted. Well, yeah, lots of things get kickstarted.
Like the potato salad and somebody trying to get a hat and some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Kickstarter doesn't, just because it gets kickstarted doesn't mean everyone wants it. It means the people that originally wanted it in the first place want it back. They're the ones that funded it, not everyone.
Okay, I'll let you win this one.
I mean, I could be wrong, but
maybe I'm just so obsessed with the movie and I'm so in love with the movie. And the whole show itself, where I would love to sit here and watch it every day again, which I'm guilty of buying a whole bunch of episodes and watching it on Amazon because of Amazon Prime and stuff like that. I watch them all the time. I've been known to watch the same fucking ones over and over again because I can't afford to buy them again. Yeah, I mean, and I'm terribly guilty of that. But it's just I remember so many fond memories of this show. But once again, I guess it's the same kind of thought process of going back to old things and trying to reboot it again, kind of like The Matrix. Yeah, I mean, where they are going back and they're going, you know what? We need another fucking movie of The Matrix. Is there anybody here who ever stopped went, you know what we need to do again? We need to restart Matrix. That'll be fun.
Would The Matrix work in a mod like today?
I don't know.
I don't believe it would.
I just have a hard time seeing it go. Yeah, I mean,
okay, so a lot of people did not like the Matrix sequels. They thought that the Matrix was what it was, and it's another one of those cases of people wanted a sequel because it was awesome, but then when they got the sequel, they were like, this sucks. This wasn't what I wanted.
I thought the second one was fantastic, but everybody hated me. So apparently I was in the minority because I also thought the first Spider-Man was the only good one because of William Dafoe.
I thought that well, first of all, Willem Dafoe was awesome in that role. But I thought that the first Matrix movie and the sequels had a universe. And one of the problems that people had with it was, oh, there was too much lore. Well, then what do you want in a sequel if you don't want more lore? You either get more lore or you just get a bunch of random action sequences, and that's called Final Fantasy Advent Children.
I want more bending backwards.
Motherfucker. No, nay. Now, first off, I would say that you are right about people bitched about it, and then what happened? Matrix 3. What is it called? What is the actual title for it?
Matrix Revolutions.
Revolutions.
Was
Thank you. And that's all it was just a huge fight scene. It was the dumb one where it was Neo versus the Smith guy, and it was all
Agent Smith.
Oh god,
Okay,
it was
okay.
fucking awful, and that was the symptom of people bitching.
No.
That was
I'm
so
sorry,
bad.
But that fight scene between Neo, and it might not have been the best at the time, because keep in mind, CGI was still pretty young when they did that. That was in 93, I think. 94, maybe.
Yeah, true.
But
I'm not looking.
Or
at
no,
it.
not 90.
It was 2000. Yeah, I wasn't looking at it from CGI value though. I'm just looking at the pure value to the movie, and it really, sure, they battled. Great. What's the fucking point?
The value to the movie is not the value of that scene. That fight scene, and in fact, The Matrix in general, changed superhero movies for all time. People don't think about this, but all of the stuff that was done in Spider-Man, the first one, all of the things that were done in Man of Steel, whether you like the movie or not, you have to admit the fight between Zod and Superman was pretty spectacular.
I will definitely say that about Spider-Man, because I remember watching it going, what is this, the fucking Matrix?
And that came from The Matrix. All of that, the way The Matrix changed Hollywood. Now, whether you like The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions is beside the point, but you cannot argue that car chase scene was not awesome. That was spectacular in the second one.
Did any of you ever try to do that bending backwards where he dodges the bullets?
I'm not going to confirm nor deny that I may have fallen on my ass, almost cracked my skull open trying to do that.
I will not say that I may have mimicked those moves here and there, just to,
But when you talk about... go ahead, apologies.
I dressed up as an agent all the way down to the shoes for Halloween one year.
Nice.
I even had the earpiece, and it was functional with my phone.
Nice, dude. GG. No, it's just when you talk
take a picture.
Hell yeah, man! But when guys talk about the, people bitching that they had so much storyline and so much lore in the second one, I think that was the problem with the third one. It was just they said, "Well, fuck the storyline. We'll give you some, but we're just going to give you action." And I think with the Neo fight between Neo and Smith, I think it could have been done much better with just the two of them. That's it. And without the 1.5 million Smiths, it could have been so much more moving and actually meant a good bit for the movie and actually done something for the movie if it hadn't been just 1.5 million fucking Smiths. Yeah, I mean, it just felt so wrong and cheap.
At the end of the day, it was just them. I know what you're saying. Throughout the movie, it was him versus 1 million Smiths, but at the end, and that's the fight scene I'm talking about, by the way, that fight scene, when I saw that, the one in the rain where it's just him and Smith flying around and punching each other.
And then he duplicates into a 12 million ones? That particular fight scene you're talking about?
No. Yes, there were 1 million Smiths everywhere, but at the end, the very end fight scene, it was just one Smith versus one Neo.
Yep.
And in that scene, all I kept thinking was, this is how a Superman fight scene should work. And then we got Man of Steel in 2012. I don't remember when Man of Steel came out.
Oof. One of these years this cough will go away, I swear.
Not if you keep smoking.
I don't smoke, motherfucker. Thank you very much.
Vape.
Yeah, I vape once in a while. I do, I'll admit that. Oh man, when I think of a reboot though, I just don't think of Matrix needing it. I felt it was pretty much done and over with, and I felt it was burnt itself out because it just felt boring by the end of it. Like, I remember watching to the very end of the third one going, can we just be done with this movie already? Can you just kill off Neo and just like say, oh, the machines took over, they won, haha, they're omnipresent, whatever. You know, can we just be done already, please? You know?
Well, that's kind of what they did. I mean,
I know. No, they came to a truce.
But what I will say is, are we talking about, and this is a Hollywood thing now,
yeah.
Are we talking about a reboot, a sequel, a requel, a prequel? You know, what kind of thing are a remake, a re-envisioning? You know, what is Hollywood talking about when they're talking about making another Matrix movie?
I'm so glad you brought this up, because this is something I was going to bring up, and it's going to make you probably cringe, because this is what made me yell too. Hopefully you'll yell about this too. This is acting. It will not be a reboot or a remake. It'll be, he couldn't come out right out at that point in time saying what it's going to be, but it's going to be something. He went on to mention films like The Animatrix, as well as the growing X-Men cinematic universe with Deadpool and Logan. Now, motherfucker, if you're looking at Deadpool and Logan as a good way to continue your universe, you just tanked your entire fucking movie, because you're going to go, oh, by the way, Neo never existed. He was just a dream. Morpheus is the chosen one, and now all the robots are anal dildos. I mean, seriously.
That's my kind of Matrix.
Well,
the Matrix Reloaded.
Hook me up.
Well, obviously I'm being facetious. Obviously I'm joking around, being a bit, sarcastic. But you catch what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
It's just, when you look at that and you mention that instantly, I'm like, I'm already fearing for the Matrix. You're going to destroy something that I grew up on and loved. And I still theorize going, is this shit possible? I put on my tinfoil hat and go, motherfucker, is this possible that maybe, just maybe, we really are living the Matrix and there's really are robots harvesting our body? This is all a dream. And look, there was a glitch. It was just deja vu, but it was a glitch. You know, that kind of thing.
Honestly, the way I see it is, if robots are really harnessing our bodies for heat and energy, they're really dumb robots.
It should. Okay, I want to comment on that. It should be noted that the original script had them using our brains as a massive AI network, like a computer network.
That is a good idea.
Which is a much better idea, because our brains can theoretically process information much faster than a real computer.
Yeah,
Can I be one of the brains that store all the porn on?
But what happened was they had one of those executive meetings, and people were not. They didn't understand. They didn't like it, and so somebody in the meeting came up with, "Well, why don't we just say they're using them for power?" And then everybody went, "Oh, yeah," because they're all stupid.
Well, at the time the Matrix came out, it was 1999. So, big giant AI networks was not a thing yet.
Because he's fucking stupid.
As Stacy donates his brain to the machines right now.
Oh my god, I love you, Casual. I'm sorry, man. I love you, dude.
Please hold while we get Stacy back.
Oh, Stacy.exe has stopped working. They need to reboot my CPU. But
is it a reboot or a requel or a sequel?
Or a remake.
I got the bad jokes.
One last thing before we kill the stream. I almost did it again, guys. Oh, God. Before we end the podcast. Did you know they're still making PS3s?
Sure. Why wouldn't they?
It's so old. How the hell are they still making them?
I'd buy in a lot of PS3s, actually.
I figured that was just collective stuff that's, they're just recirculating old stock by this point.
Well, Nintendo continues to make old systems for like a few years after the new system comes out too.
But it's been 10 years that this system is 10 years old. How old is a PS4? Isn't it like fucking 4 or 5 years old now?
No, it's only like 2.
Really? It feels way older than that. Okay, well, you know what? I'll back off on that one. It just felt like the PS4 is way older than that. It's just apparently in Japan though, there's only one model being still made this day right now, and they're going to be cutting it all off. Now, I'm honestly surprised it took this long for them to say, okay, the PS3 is done, because I don't know many people who still own a PS3 like that have bought a new one at least. Besides, I still have my old one that I've had I still have the original. The backwards compatible PS3 that everybody was frothing their mouth over.
2 of the originals, and they're both broken.
One of the things I noticed about whenever at work I buy an original PS3, I didn't realize how bloody heavy they were.
Oh, they're fucking bricks, man.
Yeah, I was like, I could kill someone with this.
Well, that's a great question. Robbie, you work at a game store. Fucking hell. Yeah. I completely forgot about this. I'm sorry. How many PS3s do you sell, brand new ones?
Oh, God. I mean, brand new, everything's secondhand where I work, so...
Okay, so you guys don't sell any brand new ones?
No, we don't really get new... I mean, when it comes to new stocking, we've got a couple of new Switches.
Okay.
But that's about it. More or less everything else we sell is secondhand.
Oh, okay, shit. I'd have to talk to our friend Danny then, because she works at Games, which is the British equivalent of GameStop.
Yeah.
I have to ask her how many PS3s they sell brand new, because I can imagine it's a large number. Because especially when you can buy an old one for so much fucking cheaper,
Yeah.
I just don't. I quite literally thought it was already done, because I haven't met anybody who bought a new one ever. Like in the last 4 years, I don't know a single person who bought a new one.
I would estimate that the last major sales of a new PS3 were probably within the first year of the PS4 launch. Like I don't remember exactly when PS4 launched. I don't know if it was holiday or summer, but I would say people might have bought PS3s that Christmas.
Okay.
The Christmas after the launch of the PS4, but that would have been like the last major sales of a PS3, because they would have been cheap too.
Good point. And also, as far as it goes for video games, who's upset that on the Conan Exiles version that'll be on the PS4 and Xbox that you won't be able to see dongers? Is anybody mad about this?
Only you, Stacy.
I'm not mad at all, because I own a PC, and PCs are better. But all jokes aside, they really are, because they're more up to date. But
why would you go see dongers on a console? That's just it's like downgrading dongers.
But seriously, is anybody mad about this? Anybody at all? Nobody.
Nobody who truly appreciates dongers watches them on consoles.
Exactly. I got a story to tell about that. Oh God, do I got a story to tell about that? So. You know what? We're going to end up this story. We're going to end up the podcast with a story. Sound good, guys?
Sure.
It's about my nephew. We're going to nickname him Spider Monkey. Okay?
I love hearing stories about your nephew.
Yeah, you're going to love this one. So he lives with my mother, his grandmother. And my mother was sitting there sleeping, and all of a sudden she woke up, and all she hears is, she's like... What the hell is that? So she walks into Spider Monkey's room.
I'm just imagining him going, Stacy, are you home?
Seriously. She walks into Spider Monkey's room, and there he is, porn on his PS4. No, PS3. No, PS4. Yes, PS4. Porn on his PS4, watching it on his TV. Volume cranked to the max. And there's his bare little ass bouncing up and down on his bed as his bed is curled up into a tight little wad so he can stick his little Spider Monkey dick in there, right? So all he hears, and all you can hear is my mom, oh, Jesus Christ, Spider Monkey, put it away, you little fucking disgusting pig.
Was the noise coming from him or the TV?
Both.
So he basically turned his bed into a giant owner hole?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So she walks down. Grandma, get out! She walks downstairs, and he doesn't turn it down any quieter, and he proceeds to pound it harder as if like, okay, I guess I need to finish now. And all you can hear is, and here's my mom, change your sheets, you disgusting little pig. I don't want to wash that shit. So to end it up, Spider Monkey comes downstairs. And mind you, he has the nickname Spider Monkey because this isn't the first time this has happened.
So what he brings his sheets downstairs and they accidentally shatter.
Oh, God. He used to use his pillow. Now, I want you all to imagine that crusty pillow being used to lay down.
No.
And you
I don't
don't feel the
imagine
crunch
that.
as you lay down.
So it's a
only-
glazed donut.
I mean, it's only worse if you also use that pillow to practice kissing.
Welcome to the X-rated part of the podcast.
But she looks at Spider Monkey as he walks downstairs. Huge smile on his face. Spider Monkey, next time you do that, I don't want to be home. I clear, or I smash the PS4. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the tales of Spider Monkey. All right, yeah. Thank
Can
you.
I-
Go ahead.
Thank you for giving me that tail. Can I give it back?
No, you get to go to sleep tonight, and you're going to have nightmares of the Spider Monkey in your head. Because you're going to wake up, Jesus Christ, he's fucking my bed.
I have never wanted more to have an alien mind wipe.
Where can I get that device that the Men in Black used? I want the last
Neuralizer.
replaced.
Oh, God damn it.
by
Guys,
Good thought.
thank you so much for tuning in. We have been the Odd Pod, and hopefully we've scarred you for the rest of your life. I'm Stacy Kruger. Who are you guys from the bottom up?
I'm Robbie.
Good old Rad.
I
Hazard.
am casually challenged.
Thank you so much for tuning in, each and every one of you beautiful bastards. We'll be back next week for another episode of the Odd Pod, and hopefully more mental scarring for you all.
My body is ready.
My mind is not.
Bye-bye.